This is from Greenville Business Magazine on July 2010. A genius pirate comes to town. The Apple Store, arriving at Haywood Mall near the tentative date of July 10, is about twice as large as any other Apple Store in the state, such as the one at 301 King Street in Charleston. Why Greenville for this prestigious retailer, which is also the most profitable per square foot? You can't ask CEO Steve Jobs such a question, or anyone else. Apple, being one of the most secretive companies on the planet, didn't also get to be one of the largest by sharing secrets. However, you can bet that the time and place for this decision has much to do with demographics, plus the fact that Haywood Mall is in proximity to major interstates. Apple likes malls, but a more important consideration for them is the likelihood that their business model of being a destination retailer will work well. An Apple Store opening, after all, isn't like most other chain store openings. Not only is it a rare event opposite to, say, a Home Depot or Starbucks opening, but it brings to bear a certain coolness factor that comes from being so secretive and successful. Steve Jobs is fanatical about what's next, and his products such as the iPod, iPhone, and iPad have not only revolutionized electronics but also culture itself. This means that secrecy is not just a necessity to avoid being copied or beaten to market, but it's also a tool now too, much as the plot structure of a suspense novel as a tool. At an opening I attended in Tucson, over 200 fans waited outside for hours for the store to open, and many die-hard users loyal to the brand have driven over 100 miles to get there. Did they return? Absolutely. 6 months later, the store was full of people on weeknights and weekends. Indeed, the average revenue for an Apple store in 29 was $26 million, and most of the 284 that exist are not as big as the Haywood Mall store, while over 60 of the 284 are in other countries. California and Florida have the most stores, but 9 states have none at all. As an attendance record, there were 11,000 visitors the first day Apple opened in London, while the average number of visitors per store per week in the second quarter of 2009 was 12,700, scoring $1.68 billion in quarterly sales and $373 million in profit. Think cutting edge and you'll understand why Apple Store in New York cost roughly $30 million to build, and why even the typical store runs about $1 million to $8 million to open. Among the materials used are bead-blasted stainless steel siding from Japan, Italian siltstone flooring, and UK-designed glass fabricated in Germany. What's different about the Apple Store experience? Well, for one thing, clerks can make sales via handheld devices that scan cards and issue receipts to one's email address, so customers don't have to wait in line at the register. The store itself contains what is called a Genius Bar, where computer professionals answer questions. One can use any computer on display to get their place at the bar, and no one should expect answers about PCs unless those questions relate to transferring new data onto a new Mac. Salespeople are also well trained, with only 1 in 17 applicants getting hired during the short hiring phase. In fact, everything Apple does is calculated to generate buzz and head turning. Is Bill Gates watching too? You bet. Microsoft stores track Apple as possible locations to exploit, and in much the same way that their dueling rivalry unfolded as chronicled in the movies Pirates of Silicon Valley. Jonathan Lowe is a published author and has written several novels on a Mac.